Tech. You guys are watching D-Tech, the one and only tech from Computex in Taipei. We're at the Corsair booth. Yeah, you're very grateful.
Yes, I'm grateful to be here, and I'm happy. It's awesome.
Awesome.
I'm having fun. You look like you're having fun.
I'm always
having fun. You look like you're having fun in the Matrix.
This is going to get old, all this stuff here. Who cares? Let's just talk about what we saw at the show. We're going to give you guys our opinions on a lot of the cool things that we've seen at the show thus far. We haven't seen everything yet. We've seen about 22% of it because there's so much ridiculous stuff. Probably less than that. But let's just go ahead and start off. Kane's going to be the master of list. List master.
Tell us what is first.
So what's first on our list of interesting things?
I think the big thing we want to talk about this time around is some of the new Intel stuff. And we were over at the Gigabyte booth, and they were...
No.
What?
No. Corsair.
Okay.
We're here because of Corsair. We're going to start. We're in the Corsair booth. We're going to start with Corsair.
All right, well,
okay, Corsair, look. It's
you can click on this link here for the actual Corsair video, because we've got a lot of footage for
Now you're making me put a link in this video. I got to go back and edit a link into this video.
Work that is?
Yes.
Are you insane?
I'm not asking you to put a table of contents into it.
Can you put table of contents into YouTube
I've done it before.
Okay.
It was a pain in the ass.
All right, so yeah, we're at Corsair. We've got some really cool stuff sitting around here. But again, we've got a whole video dedicated to that, so...
We'll mention it for people who didn't see that. Of course, I got the RGB keyboard. It's the latest iteration. One thing that's interesting that they've added to it since the last time I've seen it is like the firmware button. It's sort of like almost like on a modem where you can clear your firmware or reset it to factory defaults. That's kind of interesting.
It's just in case you were being dumb and you broke it. You can fix it. They've put in a factory reset switch to fix your keyboard.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can do with it because Lua scripting is also available. So
I want to script that when I push a button, it brings up an incognito window.
It just control something. I forgot what it was. Control shift. I don't use incognito enough, except for when I'm trying to buy airline tickets because airline tickets are evil.
That's right. It is shift control T, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I want it to be on one button because I need it faster.
You're lazy.
You can get that right there. You put it, make it G5. Make G5 the key that does that. Bam. You know what? While we're sitting here, and I've got this right within reach, they've got the M65. They moved the damn targeting button. You're breaking stuff. They moved the targeting button back half an inch, and it's like in the perfect spot. Okay, that's all I wanted to say while I'm sitting here and looking at it.
Well, they've also added the RGB color scheme, or the 16 point whatever million colors, to the new Vengeance mice.
Which is very cool.
So you can get, if you want crazy colors, you can do it.
Are we satisfied?
Now we can go on to Gigabyte.
Okay, now we can go on to
the
Gigabyte.
Force LX. I want to mention that one because we didn't even mention that one in our first video. The Force LX is a new SSD. Bottom line here is that you don't get quite the performance of like some of the, I guess, higher price SSDs, but it's going to be really cheap. We're talking like just over $100 for the 256 gigabyte version.
And you lose what, like 100 megabytes of write speed?
Yeah, but the read speed's about the same.
So,
For most people, especially if you're someone who wants to put maybe like some games on this, load speeds are going to be like that.
You're saving what, like $100 easily?
You guys can use it like an actual stand.
Yes. We're using your case as a tripod.
Yeah, perfect. It's
Corsair,
awesome.
everybody.
Corsair in the house.
There, now you can add...
The coolest wind thing I've ever seen for a
You can
This one
add
has
this
one
to
too,
the
but-
the spec sheet, and you say also.
as a tripod from monopod or bipod.
See, that's pretty cool. We're here doing our show, and we get interrupted by the designer of all the Corsair cases, and he's just like, "Hey, what's up? You're using my case as a tripod." That's something that only happens at things like this in Taipei at Computex. It wouldn't happen anywhere else.
Oh yeah.
All right, next up on the list.
Okay. Can we? Speaking of cases, from somebody else, we were over at Gigabyte, and they had the Apex case.
Apex case.
I think that's what it was. The Apex case.
Which one was that?
I don't remember.
We just wrote down Apex. We don't remember what it was.
You told me to write down Apex case. Anyway,
Yeah.
so there was a bunch of stuff over at Gigabyte. The one thing that really grabbed my attention, and this is the one that I sat there and studied for 10 minutes just staring at the motherboard, was the I think it was the 26002 audio. The audio, they've got a new motherboard where they completely segregated the audio, the onboard audio from the rest of the motherboard. So there's actually
That was very cool.
there's a thin LED strip that physically separates the audio from the main board, and the only connection between the main board and the audio chunk is the
bridge, like an isolated bridge.
It's the audio connector. It's like the power and the audio connector that switches between the main board and the audio. And then once you're in the audio, it's completely isolated, and it's got a chip.
Removable chip?
The up amp. So yeah, you can remove the up amp and swap it out. And they've got like a kit you can get to.
And then they also have those little dip switches where you can increase and decrease the gain. So if you have like really high-end headphones, you can increase the gain or decrease the gain, whatever is going to make your sound better. This is really cool.
Yeah,
They said that it could power even higher. I guess they could do 600 ohm headphones and beyond. And that's like, I don't think I've seen any real headphones above 600 ohms. So I'm going to be curious to see what the output impedance is. I'm going to be curious to see, how it actually performs in the real world. It's really awesome to have all that on the motherboard instead of having to buy a dedicated sound card. I'm kind of, if you guys know, I'm anti-sound card right now. But it does also have the Creative, I believe it's the Core 3D, which is a quad-core audio processor, so you guys can use that if you want. I'm not for software effects. I'm all for doing it with hardware, but that's what they're doing with the op amp. Allowing you to swap that out is allowing you to change out the hardware, and for me, the real way to mess with audio, not through software, through hardware.
I love the fact that they're like, oh, we're gonna make the audio better, and then instead of like doing something little and insignificant, they just like revamped everything. Three things that no one has ever done. Put the dip switches on there, make your chip be able to be hot swappable. You can just pop it out and put another one in. I don't know where you'd buy that, but that's cool. And then on top of that, they isolated the circuit board so that there's no copper going through the PCB to that part. I mean, that's pretty. I mean, that's a lot of work to do on one motherboard.
To be fair, Asus does have some motherboards right now with op amps on board, but they're saying that they will not allow you to swap them out because they've already designed the perfect, audio, whatever.
Yeah, but I beg to differ. Maybe they didn't design, or maybe someone will come up with a better one. It's upgradable.
Your opinion is wrong.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is what with the up amp that's on board. They said the one that comes with it is specifically designed for like. It's hitting the levels that you would want for like games for explosions and footsteps and that kind of stuff. And if you want to listen to jazz or like listen to some other kind of audio that would hit a different range, you can swap the chip out and have have it tuned mostly for that kind of stuff.
And they'll have a specific one just made for porn.
Of course, because that's what everybody needs.
Because you really need, I guess, like perfect clarity in the frequency ranges of moans.
Yes, and groans, and
if you want to keep your computer cool while you're doing all this instead of getting all sorts of crazy hot, they also had the water force, which was the GPU water cooling system that they actually had. I think it was 3 780 Ti's that they were running this water force.
Now, this to me looked a lot like the half stacker from Cooler Master that we saw. Remember they had the top thing with the water that came down, and the Gigabyte's trying to do their own thing with the water that comes down on the inside and cools everything on the inside. It's kind of weird that the pipes come through the front. Some people might like that.
It looks kind of cool, I think.
Didn't they have it like LED lit, so it was like all sorts of glowy and weird?
Inside it was, yeah.
Yeah, you got to catch people's eyes. I mean, the other thing with that is it's just being able to cool everything with one big thing on top. It was a bit bulky.
Someone did that a long time ago in the past, and I don't remember who it was. I think it wasn't Swift. I guess one of the water cooling companies had this big thing that you could put on top of it that did everything all at once. It was cool, but this guy, they're implementing it in a way it's easy. You just buy it and unbox it, and there you go.
And the other thing that we looked at was I think this was all on one of the same motherboards that we were looking at. We had they had the SATA Express built in with the SATA Express, which had the new stuff, and that was each one had 5 gigabit lanes, and you could like connect 2 lanes to one drive. That you'd end up with like a 10 gigabit connection between your drive and your system.
That was the one that was like a SATA port though, right?
Yeah. Albert hasn't seen the SATA Express yet.
Yeah.
We saw it a couple weeks ago with the Asus boards. Okay. Now SATA Express, it was originally part of the Intel spec for Z97 motherboards, and then they removed it. But some vendors like Gigabyte and I think MSI has one, and then Asus has a few, are leaving it on board. And there's not a lot of stuff that supports it yet, so you can still use. Because I mean, the dongle or the plug actually looks like 2 SATA ports and then another little weird thing. Yeah.
So essentially, what that's doing though is that's PCI Express connectivity, but through a plug, so you don't have to lose a slot.
Right.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and it's backwards compatible with regular SATA, so each one of those can take 2 normal SATA plugs.
Wow. Good stuff. I like that a lot.
Which is very cool. And the other thing that was on that same motherboard that had the SATA Express that I thought was very cool was the ATX4P. It was a power port. It was an external power port that you would plug a SATA power connector into the board, and it would supply an extra set of 12-volt power for the graphics for the PCI Express lanes.
Yeah, normally you'd see that with like a PCI Express power header right near the PCI Express lanes and all that stuff, but they were like, well, saving room here. And they put it over there by the, I guess by like the USB 3 and the power and the 24-pin power. It was over there.
And it's a standard SATA power connector, so it's whatever the extra is on the board. You don't have to have a specific type of cable.
So questions. I'm a little bit behind on this stuff. Have any vendors released SSDs that already have that PCI Express interface?
The PCI, no, I've not seen no, I haven't seen that.
Because that to me, like SATA was the limiting factor before for this, the speeds of the SSDs are getting faster and faster and faster, but then you plug it in, it's like, and it dies. But now, you can get these like ridiculously fast 1.2 gigabit per second SSDs, but I want to see them. That would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, the closest thing you're going to get to that right now is the M.2 because that's similar to mSATA, but it's not SATA. It plugs straight into the bus and doesn't use a SATA controller, and that's going to be a lot faster than regular SATA. The other thing that some vendors are doing is they're allowing you to take 2 SATA drives, put them into one thin enclosure, plug it up to one, SATA Express, and then that becomes essentially rated, and it runs off. But it's only like 1.5 times speed. It's not double speed like you would get with a regular RAID. So.
All right, so we gotta go bother some vendors and see when they're gonna start coming out with those.
Express, man.
Oh, we can talk to Corsair. I mean, we're here. They have SSDs, and there's a lot of SSD vendors in the showroom floor. So let's go talk to them too.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone's gonna really focus on this until next year because, again, Intel did not include it in the finalized spec.
Probably we're saving it for the future technology.
Well, I haven't even seen any of the X99 future technology boards. I haven't seen any of those with it either. I've seen.
Oh no,
they didn't even have it.
They didn't have it. Right,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the MSI didn't have it. No, it
did not have it.
Yeah, it had. It was. They were boasting the DDR4. That was the big thing that they were that the future technology is yakking about is the DDR4 connectivity and the USB 3.1. I'm sorry, I think it's ridiculous.
Okay.
MSI was the only one who was just like, yeah, it's right there. They literally had their logo that said X99.
It was
world's first X99.
But it had Intel's X99 logo.
The Intel guys came by, walked through there. Normally they're like these scratching stuff. Like, what do you have this up here for? They were like,
Or at least today, anyway.
Yeah.
We did go to the Intel event. I want to talk about that just for a second. We went to the Intel overclocking event for their new
that was fun.
their new CPUs.
That was fun.
Yep.
Nerds, food, and alcohol. Mix them together with some overclocking. Yeah.
In a small, tight, confined space.
Yeah.
Where nobody can move. You're afraid of getting frozen by liquid nitrogen.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Good times.
The main point of it was to show off the overclocking power of the future. I mean, it's a successor to the 4770K. We have the 4970K out there, and they're playing around with that, and everyone's trying to overclock it. The highest that I saw was 5.5, which is really fast. And one thing that's interesting, in the last generation, overclocking sucked. It was awful. Like, you get 300 megahertz, oh my God, you've got like the Jesus chip. But this one, what they're saying, like everyone was like, oh, it's got bad thermal paste internally. You just take off, you delit it, remove the thermal compound, replace it, and then it works. And I mentioned that to one of the reps, and they were like, shut up, nothing is wrong with the thermal compound. We went to the event, right? One of the bullet points on the screen was, guys, here's what we did to up the power to overclock it. We replaced the internal thermal compound. And I was like, well, okay, if you replace the internal thermal compound, and last generation you said that wasn't a problem, then what was the real problem?
They're in denial is the problem.
They also did replace some capacitors on the CPU as well. Some very tiny little capacitors to improve the power delivery, but it does look like we're going to see better overclocking. I only saw one chip that was hitting 5.5, but that's pretty crazy.
Well, no, here's the cool part that I like. Okay, so MSI hit 5510 on 1 core, 1 thread. Asus hit 5498 on 4 cores, 4 threads.
That's some epic stability right there.
Yeah, that's real nice. It's good stuff. It's a whole new architecture and a whole new chip. Well, it's not a whole new architecture, but it's a new.
Yeah, it's not even. This is actually Dev Canyon. It's not a tick or a talk. It's kind of a weird one. It's like a. I don't know what it is.
Well, you know what? All the information.
It's a
benchmark scores are on HWBot right now on the front page, so you can go there and look at them and see all the scores that everyone got from all the teams.
And Wendell just put up an article as well on the website.
It's a big deal. Like you're like, okay, we're gonna get MSI, which is a huge company, and we're gonna get Gigabyte, and we're gonna get Asus, and we're gonna put them in a room together and give them all their best overclockers, our newest chips, and then see who wins in a competition that's gonna be filmed. And they were like filming it live, like a guy with a live switcher and all that, and cameras everywhere.
I want to say they had like 5 different film crews.
That's big bragging rights to win that, and MSI and Asus did real good on that bragging rights. That's strong.
All right, what's next on the list?
Let's go to something a little less exciting, but still something that I thought was very interesting. We did talk to the guys at MSI. They had a whole entire eco center motherboards, but most of this stuff was like business to business and like embedded kind of machines and things.
Yeah.
But they were all very, very low power, like really low power. Like he had a setup that was showing had the motherboard running with all of these peripherals that you weren't actually using turned off on the motherboard level, and it was pulling less power than a low wattage light bulb.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, the motherboard while running whatever, it was like single thread. I mean, it was very, very dropped down, but
and
it was
then they
running.
had the firmware that would let them go in there, and like an IT professional could go into the firmware of each computer and batch turn off like all the USB ports you're not using, turn them off. All these little chips or anything that you're not using, turn them off. You're not using audio, turn it off.
And it
Turn
actually
off the SATA ports.
Turn off SATA ports.
turn off the CPU fan.
He did it.
He turned off the CPU.
He turned off the
fan.
CPU fan. And he's like, oh shit, turn it back on.
It was pretty nifty.
Yeah, you can turn off all that stuff, and then the thing that's really interesting, like you said, it was like a software/firmware, but once he was done, he was able to save it and lock it into the BIOS.
Yeah.
Or the UEFI. He said BIOS, but it's a UEFI.
That's like that really painful. Like if you're working somewhere and your IT guy has that, and you're like, you bastard. He's gonna just like, you're not gonna do anything.
Dude, we had that at Tiger. You plug in a USB drive and it was like, nope.
Yeah, it would catch on fire because they use crappy computers, but
I didn't say that.
it's just what? Is there something wrong with that? They use like 286s and it's just ridiculous. Like, my computer had a turbo button.
How long did it take to turn that thing on?
It had a turbo button, 100 to 133. Nah, I'm exaggerating wildly, but they had really low-end computers for, you could run Excel maybe if you have patience.
Meanwhile, back in Taiwan.
Yeah, we're overclocking things with liquid nitrogen.
Yes, we were just down talking to Lee and Lee. They have some really cool new cases, and I just want to mention this because we're going to do a whole video on this, but they have a desk that is a case. It's got a glass, like a tempered glass top, and I'm just like, I want one of these at home. It had 17 hard drive bays, two motherboard connections, 2 power supplies, 2 water cooling slots. I was
unbelievable.
Let me preface this by it's over $1,000.
What?
Let me preface this by saying, guys, it's over $1,000.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. It would be worth almost $1,000 just as the desk because it's a beautiful desk.
Exactly. I mean, it's not that you're just buying you look at how much money you spend on a computer case, look how much money you spend on a desk, and how much, all of that, and it's a nice desk. So
it was in a nice house, has like nice furniture. Like this is gonna blend in. It's modern, it's contemporary. It looks like high-end IKEA kind of feel.
So
to
it's not.
But you said high-end and IKEA in the same
high-end
sentence.
IKEA, higher end than IKEA, as in it's put together already and it doesn't fall apart after a year.
All right.
Yeah, I'm in higher end.
Yeah. So it's you're not just buying a computer case. You're buying a computer case and a desk. It's a full solution. And the one that we were looking at that was over $1,000 has 2 motherboards in it.
Yeah. And how many hard drives?
It has
922.
17 hard drive slots.
Yeah,
it has 8 on.
times.
Yeah, I know. It's got 7. I'm sorry. It's got 8 on one side and 9 on the other. Yeah.
Every time we go anywhere, we could go look at a gaming mouse, and your first question, you like waltz up and you're like, how many hard drives can you fit in that gaming mouse?
Can I fit a USB memories chip inside the gaming mouse? Because that would be very cool. Plug in my mouse and have 16 gigs of memory. Who would think about that? You take it to take it to a LAN party. Plug it in. What do you got on there? This is where my.
And then also, the cool thing with the Lee and Lee desks is that there's 3 sizes available. There's one for like the huge epic IT gamer nerd / editing professional. There's a smaller
17
one.
hard drives.
Yeah, and then there's a little short coffee table one that's actually meant to be underneath a TV as a media center, which is also really cool.
It only fits 6.
Yeah, I need like one.
There's like a medium-sized one.
Yeah, that's what I need to.
It's like a regular size desk.
Right.
It held a single computer, and it had I think it had 7 hard drives.
Yeah.
You guys will see our separate video on that coming soon. So, what else we
I
got?
was very excited about that. I tweeted it. Flipping bird down here. We also went and let's see, what else did we talk about? Oh, let's stick with the cases for a minute, and we went and talked to the guy's named Silverstone.
Oh, they had a lot of good
and
stuff.
they had a bunch of a wide variety of types of cases, including this giant. We did a video box.
I want to save some of that for the specific video on Silverstone, but I do want to talk about their weird pumpless cooling system. It's so weird. Pumpless, fanless cooling system.
It's so weird that while I was trying to shoot the video of it, these 2 Asian men just walked up to it and just like touched it, and I sat there patiently for I kid you not, like 4 or 5 minutes while they just stared at it, touching it, and I'm like, you're not gonna understand it if you touch it. I put the camera in their face, and they didn't care. They were just like, wow.
You have video of this?
Yeah, and I was like, I don't believe it. Like, what? Move! I need to shoot. I'm working here. Get out of my way. But it is really cool.
It's water cooling. I'm gonna mess this up right now. Go ahead.
Okay, it is. They called it an induction-based cooler, which is a standard kind of cooling movement, but it's not using water. It's using actually a low evaporation liquid. So they didn't say what it was. It's just a low evaporation liquid, which means as the CPU gets hotter, the liquid inside the block evaporates and it forces itself out of the tubing, out into the radiator, cools off, and comes back. And it's fanless.
And
it's
yet, even though it's
pumpless.
passive, it's active because they had clear tubes, and it's like blah, blah, blah. It's slurping through all the time. It's actually moving.
As far as the performance goes, this is not going to be for overclockers. This is not going to be for performance systems. This is for people who want complete silence, because the performance is about on par with the stock cooling solution. Like, it's that bad, but it's completely quiet, and the stock is not completely quiet. So
Stock is usually stupid.
And we have SSDs now. We have completely silent cooling. And what else is in the cases? We can basically make a completely silent computer.
The only thing that we need to get silent now is the power supply.
Yeah. Oh no, they had that too.
Well, yeah. Well, what you do?
Fanless.
They also have one here. The RM. I'm using an RM850. It's a Corsair. Silverstone has one. Zigmatech has one. Cooler Master has one.
Yeah.
What they're doing right now is there's a lot of people are doing this thing where, let's say you get a power supply. I bought like an 850, and as long as you're using like 50% or lower
It'll turn off the fan.
It'll turn off the fan. Yeah. So you just go out and get like a 1,000-watt power supply that has this technology. Put it in a case that only is using like 300 or 400 watts, and then it'll never come on. The fan will never come on. Silent.
Awesome. Yes.
Cool.
What's next?
What's next? Find my notes here.
Notes.
AMD.
Good commentary.
We did
AMD.
We did stop by and talk to AMD about the FreeSync technology that's being part of what is it? It's part of the new VESA standard, or it's been a part of the VESA standard.
Okay, I guess I could preface this, and I'm ready for your hate mail. And NVIDIA, I am sorry. I'm ready for your hate mail too. All right, so here's the deal. A couple weeks ago, Wendell and I talked about G-Sync, and we said G-Sync is dead. That was our pretty much just G-Sync is dead. And I'll go back in time a little bit. In 2011, NVIDIA released a video showcasing the power of adaptive V-Sync, and then they kind of stopped and went and rewrote their own thing, and then they made G-Sync, which basically, when you have V-Sync turned on, the frames that are being delivered to the monitor wait, and it delivers them when the monitor is ready.
Right.
So, your monitor can do 60 hertz. If you're getting 50 frames a second, or you're getting 70 frames a second, it's not going to sync up with that. What adaptive V-Sync will do is it will display the information immediately. It's got a variable V-Sync. So your V-Sync basically becomes equivalent to your frames per second, and it looks completely smooth. Now, this could have been part of the VESA standard, and now it's going to be part of the VESA standard in DisplayPort 1.2. So future monitors coming out are going to have this, and anybody can take advantage of it. It's not like G-Sync, where you have to have an NVIDIA graphics card and you have to have a monitor with an NVIDIA sticker on it with the G-Sync. It's totally like that. Now, the guy from AMD, I was like, dude, I got a lot of hate mail. People were saying, you don't understand the technology. The NVIDIA stuff is light years ahead because it's the NVIDIA stuff and it's light years ahead. And so I asked the guy, I said, dude, is it the same thing? And the guy from AMD, his response was, it is the exact same thing. Anything else is BS. That's his take. So I haven't used it yet, so I'm not going to make an opinion other than I do think G-Sync is probably dead.
We did see the actual examples of it being used, and it looks exactly like the one from NVIDIA. It's beautiful. You look at it, and it's just like everything is super smooth. There's no cutting out, and then obviously there's no tearing because the V-Sync is on.
Albert, hold on a second. And the NVIDIA technology is superior.
Yeah, it's superior because it's green.
I love NVIDIA. I use NVIDIA in my own system.
Too. I'm a big NVIDIA fanboy, kind of, but it's stupid, and I like the fact that it's open source, and they should keep it open source. They shouldn't.
It should be a part of the standard. Everyone should have this. It's beautiful, and everyone should have it. And it looks to me, we saw G-Sync, and then we went over and looked at the AMD thing. I couldn't tell the difference either.
Now, I do want to preface that we saw this at CES, but it was only on laptops with laptop monitors. Right. And so the point that they were trying to make with this demonstration was that this is on a real monitor, and a production monitor. It's out. The one that they had was a prototype. It wasn't actually, it didn't have a branding on it. It was nothing. So it was this will be part of the standard. They will be coming out. Was it the end of this year, next year that you start looking for them, and you'll start seeing more news about it.
This quarter they're going to start pushing out the information to ESA, and all the members of VESA can start getting that and integrating it into their production. So it depends on how long they want to take, but if they want to make money, they'll probably do it quickly and hopefully sooner than later.
Hopefully we'll see it by the end of the year.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Send hate mail to neckbeard@techsyndicate.com.
Is that a real email?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just for hate mail or corrections, send any anal retentive corrections to neckbeard@techsyndicate.com, and we'll get to it. You dropped your thing.
We're done.
We're done?
That was it. That was all the notes we had. Everything else we've made actual videos of.
Oh.
We've spent a lot of time looking at a lot of really cool things, and then a lot of the other stuff that we've come across are things like new networking technologies, backbone, server side things, data center type of stuff that I know that if I start rambling about, you're all going to be like, boring, and I'm like, whatever, this is what runs the internet, it runs the world.
As soon as we see him walk up to a case of server racks and stuff, we're like, okay, we're going to just go over here now.
We'll be back in 15 minutes.
And then 15 minutes later, he's still there talking to the guy, and they're like, yeah, man, this is great.
And then usually the guy's tells him something, he's like, oh, I thought it was cool.
You know what, there was one awesome thing, what you were telling me about your job, and we were looking at that rack. I think it was it wasn't at NVIDIA, but they had that huge rack that was just filled with SSDs, and they were getting 10 million many SSDs in RAID. That was impressive. And
a million IOPS.
A million IOPS, yeah.
Yeah, it was running a million IOPS.
That's impressive.
I'll put the B-roll on the screen.
1 million IOPS, yeah. That was nice.
So yeah, we're having fun down here. We're going to go see a lot more stuff for you guys. We wanted to take some time out today to make the tech for you guys. And we thought we were going to have more videos live. We had a little problem with the, I guess, sending things back to the States for Jimmy to edit. And we had a lot of crashes with that. So we just did SFTP.
SFTP.
We got SFTP going, and I'm just logging straight into the NAS and sending it right there. So it should have done it that way in the first place. I thought, oh, that'll take too long to set up, but it didn't. Now it's working.
It's the tried and true technology of yesteryear, and it still runs strong.
I thought all these new, like, let me Dropboxes type things and Mega Upload and Google Drive were going to work, but they all did not work for sending these large. They just didn't work out. I was having issues with them. They were stalling. They were getting like 100 megabits per second instead of 800 or whatever.
They all work.
Wait, let me say clap. That was a clap. They were getting like the 2 megabits per second as opposed to like 8 and 10. I don't know.
Okay. Now, one of the things that I've noticed with some of these upload sites, because I want to preface this here, is that I've had Mega Upload crash only when I'm using, like, I want to upload maybe 15 or 20 video files, all in the span of like 1.5 gigs, 2, 3, 4 gigs a piece. And I think it's a browser side of things. It starts eating up too much memory trying to load those things up and up.
It crashed every single time for me. We would get like 3 videos uploaded, then Mega Upload would just die.
Mega Upload is not. Google Drive is much more reliable, I think. And then I think your way with FTP is even better.
Yeah, well, that's the only way to do it from now on. So.
And the nice part about the way you are doing it right now is that you're actually making a secure connection back to your NAS in the north of the teeth of the world, and it's just uploading straight there from here to there. There's no middleman, no in between. Yeah.
Anybody want a tutorial? Tell Wim. All right, guys, we're gonna go back out to the show floor. There's so much stuff that we haven't seen yet. I'm like half dead. If you guys can tell, my voice is weird, but we must go see all the things.
Yes.
So yeah, click on things on the screen, and yeah, bye.